Alright guys, I'm back. I was supposed to have this vlog out on Thursday. Instead, I have it out today. Not ideal, but I still wanted to have 2 vlogs out every week, even if I'm sick. If you want to read about like a lot of the personal stuff, the personal feelings that are like deep down, whatever, go over to my blog, www.particella.com, my first and last name.com, and it's right there on the homepage. Subscribe, that's another thing, because once you subscribe, you put your email in there, and it sends the articles to your inbox, so you don't have to go over and check out my website. I went to a very, very religious school growing up in Los Angeles called Beis Yaakov School for Girls, and it was a high school, and and what was typical for people in my high school to do is go to a religious seminary right after high school. They'd go to religious seminary, and then after that they would come home and get married or whatever. People got married young in that community. So when I was 18 years old, I was sent off to Jerusalem. During my time in the seminary, I had many crazy experiences. But I also had many different kinds of friendships, and one of the friends that I made was a very interesting one. It was this girl, I'm going to call her Mindy, even though that's not her real name, but Mindy was very popular. Mindy came from a wealthy family. She was always shopping. She always had the latest fashion, always looked cool. I was not always dressed cool. In fact, I was wearing the same thing like every day, same color, maybe like just changed my shirts. I did not act cool, and I had no idea why a girl named Mindy would want to be friends with me. I was always friends with everybody, but I was never like a cool kid, and I never was. Even though I always wanted to be a cool kid, I always was a little insecure, so I always still wished that the cool kids would want me to be friends with them. Mindy only wanted to be friends with me. She would act so mean to everybody else, but she was so nice with me. And we would go places. She had these other friends that were also very cool. They were very popular. Everybody wanted to be friends with them. They were also so mean to everybody, but they were just nice to their friends. They were nice to me because I was friends with Mindy. It was such a cool feeling to be like a cool kid that people are nice to, even if they're mean to everybody else. Like, it was just this feeling that I'm special. She had this friend that was from another school in Jerusalem. She was so cool. She was stunning, the most beautiful person that I ever met in my life. People knew about her from all over the world. I was talking to my sister who like knew about her from another one of her friends who lived in a different part of the world. Like, just everybody in that like seminary ecosystem knew about this girl. Let's call her Brianna. Brianna was so mean. I remember one time like standing with Mindy and Brianna, and we were standing on a corner of a street in Jerusalem, like eating ice cream or something. And this girl came over, was so excited to talk to Brianna. She was like, "Oh my God, Brianna, hi, are you going to this event that they made? I'm going, are you going?" And she's like, "No, I won't make it, but have a great time." And then as soon as the girl walks away, she goes, "Nabach, look at what she's wearing." That's the kind of person that Brianna was. Anyway, so I became friends with Mindy and her friends, and eventually I started to change certain parts of my behavior in order to fit in with the cool kids. I started to wear Mindy's clothing. She would lend me her clothing. I would go shopping more, look for more outfits to wear. I also started to lose weight, a lot of weight, because Mindy was obsessed about her diet. She would eat like a tiny cup of ice cream the whole day, and that would be like her meal for the day. I started to do that too. I started to become very self-conscious about my diet. I would only eat a bell pepper, or like I would only eat little cup of ice cream for the whole day. It got to the point where people were asking me if I was anorexic because it was so odd that I would be this obsessed with my weight. And I started to really care about the way that I looked. While this was happening, my parents, who were back in the States, decided that they wanted me to communicate with them through a tablet. It was like a mini sort of laptop flip thing where like you can just talk on Skype, so I can talk to them over webcam. My school obviously did not allow that. My school did not allow any internet access. Using the internet is forbidden in schools that I went to. The head rabbi of the Haredi world, the year that I was in seminary, decided that using the internet is as bad as worshiping idols. It's just like so bad. It was really, really serious, anyone who tried to use the internet. My parents were like, don't worry, if you get in trouble, just give it to our family friend, because our family friend's daughter wanted one too, so if you can't use it, then we'll just give it to them and say it was for her. And so I said, okay, fine. So they sent it with someone who was coming from Los Angeles to Israel. They sent the tablet. I went to go get it. I told Mindy about it because it was so cool. Like, Pardes has a tablet now. I'm so cool that I have something that has access to internet. So we decided that we need to go somewhere that has internet to use a tablet. So we find through word of mouth, they had these internet cafes in Jerusalem that were like kind of like speakeasies. It was like an internet cafe that was behind a drugstore, like past a hidden door, and all these Haredi kids who weren't allowed to use internet in their schools would use internet in the back of these internet cafes, in the hidden ones. So nobody would find out, they wouldn't get kicked out of their schools. I shared a room with 4 other girls, and the dorm counselor walks in on me showing the tablet to Mindy. Her job is to tell the principal if anybody has anything that could potentially have access to internet. And so then the principal found out. She called both of us into her office individually to ask us about this tablet, and we knew that we could potentially be kicked out of school. Like, we quickly put the tablet away. We weren't sure if the counselor saw. Mindy and I talked to each other before going in, and we decided that we won't say anything. If she asks us about it, we will say, no, there was no tablet. Maybe the counselor saw something wrong. I told Mindy, like, you have nothing to do with it. So if someone were to come in your possessions and look for it, they won't find it. It's not yours, has nothing to do with you. And so Mindy was like, okay. The principal who I really did not like, by the way, she was like, it has come to my attention that you might be holding a tablet in your possessions. Is that true? And I looked her straight in the eye and I said, no. And then she asks the same thing to Mindy. Mindy told her everything. So Mindy was off the hook and I was in trouble. It got really bad. Both she and the vice principal of the school were torturing me for the next couple weeks about this tablet. They really tried to intimidate me into getting the tablet to them. I had, by that time, like right when this happened, I had done what my mom told me to do, which was hand over the tablet to the family friend. And I told them, and the family friend was in a different seminary, like a less religious seminary, so she was able to have it on her. And I told her, like, I don't have access to laptop. It's not mine. And at that point, it wasn't mine anymore. That was the deal that I had made with my parents. At that point, it wasn't mine anymore. At that point, it was with our family friend. It was a really, really awful time. I just wanted to leave. I wanted to go back to Los Angeles and start college, which they didn't even allow. So I wanted to go and get a head start, and it was stupid. I should have left. I should have done what I wanted to do. Meanwhile, Mindy was having a really, really tough time because Mindy's parents put a budget on her, so just she can only spend a certain amount every week on shopping. And this was really hard on Mindy because she was used to spending whatever she wants on shopping every week. So having to have a budget, a shopping budget, made it really difficult for Mindy. I was always working, even in seminary, I was working on commission for a candy business, and I was basically selling candies to people in my school just on commission, and it was a lot of work, and I got paid just a little bit, but I worked really hard, and I made enough to like be able to buy myself something. Mindy went crazy from not being able to shop as much as she wants, so she started to go around and stealing people's money. She would go into the dorms. Each dorm room had like, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, 6, sometimes 8 girls in one room. And so she would go around to these different rooms and just, go through people's things while we were in class. She also went through my things while I was in class. She stole over 400 shekels from my little piggy bank. The day after they announced that like about 3,000 shekels was missing from the dorm. By the way, shekels to dollar, I don't know what the amount is right now, but it was like at that time, like it was 4 shekels to the dollar. That night that all the money was stolen, Mindy came back home late. She showed me a diamond tiara that she had bought going out shopping, and I was like, who can afford a diamond tiara on the budget that Mindy's parents gave her? The principal came up to me and asked me who it was and if I think it was Mindy, and I didn't say anything because I was so mad at the principal for what she did to me. The principal had tortured me not long earlier and tried to threaten me to be kicked out of school, and also tried to pit me and Mindy against each other, even though I was mad at Mindy for being a kleptomaniac and stealing my money, and also for throwing me under the bus. I still was even more mad at the principal because the principal was lying. She was engaged in all sorts of lying. She was mean. She wasn't really involved in our lives. She was cruel. She was just mean and controlling, and I didn't trust her. Mindy came up to me and she's like, Pardis, you need to help me. It was at night. Everybody was sleeping. She's like, Pardis, you need to help me. They think that I stole the money and I need them to not think that. So I'm gonna go on a trip for a few days and I need you to go and steal X amount of money from this person and that person so that they'll know that I wasn't there and they'll know that it couldn't have been me that stole the money. And I was like, I'm not gonna steal for you. The school couldn't just kick Mindy out without evidence that she's the kleptomaniac who's stealing money from people. By the way, she also stole money from this girl who was trying to start her own business because her mom had cancer and her parents couldn't afford to pay for her. So like, she stole money from everybody. The principal came up with this genius plan, okay, that she's gonna catch Mindy and get evidence that Mindy did the crime. Mindy loved to sit on my bed. The principal decided that she's gonna put a wallet with blue powder on my bed so that when Mindy touches it, thinking that it's my wallet, her hands will become blue and they'll use that as evidence that she tried to steal money. I was like, you guys do whatever you want to do, but I don't want to be part of this and I'm leaving. So I leave school grounds for the day and they do their thing. Of course, Mindy did not. It was so obvious also. Like, it was so obvious. And Mindy knew that that wasn't my wallet. And so she didn't go on my bed. She didn't touch it. They couldn't catch Mindy. At that point, Mindy couldn't steal money anymore. She was cut off from her parents. She needed money. So she started to go after rich guys. So that's the story of Mindy. If you're ever thinking of being a kleptomaniac, please don't ask your best friend to steal from you in order to take the blame off of you and onto her. Also, you don't need to lose weight in order to impress other people. And that's something that I still struggle with because I still am very self-conscious about my weight. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and also subscribe to my vlog, which should be in the description of this video. Goodbye.